So the canopy has had several days to set now, and it worked out good. The pointed bit is flush with the fuselage, so that was the plan, Stan. I've put the aerial antenna in. This one on the underside of the nose, when you set it into the recess is too deep, so I just use a bit of, cut off a piece of 0.1 plastic card, just cut it to fit in that recess, and then set that pitot in. Canopy frame, I sprayed the interior green before I put that black on. I need to clean up, there's a bit of glue I can see now after that black's on there. I need to clean up before I prime, and I've also primed the bomb bay and the wheel bays, so I can spray the interior green in there, mask all that off, so I can get into primer ready to do the camouflage. And I've also preparing primed and ready to paint the interior green on the bomb bay doors, the gear doors, and the actuators for the bomb bay. So that will be my next step. Okay, finally cleaned it all up, primed, bit of dust. I use grey, obviously you can see that. It's AK's Interactive Primer Microfiller. Because the scheme I'm doing has white underside, I've gone with grey rather than a black. It's less paint covering up the grey than black, but I'm going to give the paint a bit of a distressed look, which I've already set myself up for on the underside, because where I've prepared here is, like I said, white. I've gone with a dark grey rather than black, for the fact that if I did black, I'll just need more white paint to cover it up, so grey will just require a bit less. I've used a piece of scourer, I've peeled it apart and just randomly sprayed, and then I've pre-shaded the panel lines. So next step, I paint the white, and then I can mask that off, and then we're back to the upper side. On the upper side, I'm going to splatter with white and pre-shade with black, because I'm using the blues, so it'll cover better on the top. Okay, sprayed the white. As you can see, I've left it, got that splatter effect and the pre-shading showing through still, so it's giving it a dirty, worn look, which is what I want. This is what I used. I was looking through my paint and found this in there, so it's a lacquer paint. I was going to use just good old Tamiya XF2, but this is a lot thinner and sprays easier. This is good to go straight out of the bottle, but I thin it still with Mr. Leveling Thinner, just to get a even better flow. So that's going to need a clear gloss coat now to protect it, so I can mask up and paint the next colour. And I've also done all the bomb bay doors and the gear doors. Right, I've masked up. I use white tack worms. Images that I found of this actual aircraft, it's pretty, looks like it's long into service, so it's pretty a worn looking paint job, so it's not hard edge camo. So I've just used the white tack worm. I've masked under here so I don't get overspray. And it's also it's got white just under the bottom of the vertical stabilizers. I'm not sure if it's on the inside, so I've just kept it the same on the inside and outside. So now I've got to touch in, respray my grey primer to get rid of the white where I've gone over where it needed to be, clean that up. Then I'm going to do my splatter and pre-shading in, and I'm going to, first of all, before I get into the blues, I'm going to do this grey. There's some on the tail. Like I mentioned early on, I don't know what the other side of the aircraft looks like, so I'm just going to make something up. I'll put some grey there. It's not going to be identical to that side, it'll just be a bit of random. I'm not sure if it had the other side of that or not, so it's just a lot of guessing. Call out is just light grey, so that narrows it down to about 1,000 paints. So I'm just going to use some light gold grey. It's a nice light grey. And then once that's done, I have to mask off again, and then I can get into the blues. Okay, it's about this time that I wish I just did a pre-shade and sprayed it. It was a lot of fun doing the splatter, trying to hold it and get it angles and under the tail in between the nacelles. But hey ho, I've finally managed to get there. So now I'm on to the blue parts of the camouflage. So the next blue up, the lighter blue, is intermediate blue. I'm using AK Real Colour, again a lacquer paint. And when I get to the top, which is the top of the wings and the top of the spine and the tail, it'll be the dark sea blue. So I'm going to spray them both, and when we next come back I'll have finished the camo. Okay, so I've finally got this scheme down. I've just literally finished painting the dark sea blue, so I might have to do touch-ups here and there when I check it over. So it was a huge session today getting this done. I think probably put in 6-7 hours getting the paint down. So once I check it over, and then next thing I'll give it is a clear gloss coat before I move on to putting the markings on. I'm going to have a break from it for a couple of days now because I'm a bit over it, to be honest. Bit of a touch up needed there, I can see already. So once I clean everything up, and I'll move on after I've had a couple of days off.